look at me weird too, because they look at me and think I'm Saudi, and then this little brown boy in the car with a bunch of English guys, and and they're like, "What the fuck is going on here?" They literally, their faces would be like that, like, "Huh?" Yeah. But anyway, I got off on a tangent. I apologize.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
That's what
it's about.
Yeah, right.
That's what happens when you're drinking 9%, 11% liquor, but alcohol.
Yeah. It's a fine line.
Yes, it can be.
It's a fine line. I like your shirts. It says, "Give me liberty and give me beer."
That's it.
That's awesome.
Two best things.
Yeah, that is really, really awesome. So I wanted to talk about some of the stuff that you guys do. I did talk about the food. You have a chef here. How often?
He's here every day. We're open.
Every day?
Yeah, if he's got another catering job or something to do, he sends somebody in here to cook food. We might do a little bit of a condensed menu that day. But when he's here, we have a 3-page menu that he does, plus specials.
Wow. And all that's farm-raised stuff?
No, not all of it. Some of it is stuff that he purchases from outside, but all the rolls that we get are done right here in Hopewell, a local bakery. So she makes all the bakery rolls for us. Some of the meats that he gets are from local farms. But then there are things like our pierogies. He doesn't make those. We don't get those made locally. But there's some things that...
Pierogies are just potatoes, right?
Yeah, they're like a little, I guess, pastry.
My girlfriend, she's Polish, so...
Okay.
Well, she's part Polish, so she loves that stuff. Like, I've been tasked to bring food from here, by the way.
Oh, okay.
For later. She's like, make sure you buy some stuff, because...
Yeah, he'll be here, what time is it? 2 o'clock, he'll be here about 3. So.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But he's usually ready to cook on a moment's notice.
That's really cool.
Yeah, but he does a very good menu. It's pretty diverse. Everything from, like I said, pierogies. We have a whole German section, to burgers. There's a sandwich named after me. It was a sandwich I wanted, and it was chicken, some hot peppers, some cheese, and like an aioli sauce that he put on it. Okay. And he named it the Aaron after me. So.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, it is your place. And
and I got a sandwich named after myself.
That's good stuff. That's good. And you didn't it wasn't like, hey, you need to name a sandwich to me. Somebody else dedicated that to you. That was really cool.
Yeah. I didn't want anything that was on the menu that day. Because, when you eat someplace all the time, you want to try something different.
Of course.
So I said, hey, just make me this sandwich. And now it's on the menu, and we sell a ton of them.
Oh, good.
So, yeah.
Good. And you guys have been open for 2 years, but it seems like I did some research on you, and you up here, I mean, I've seen you on like some radio shows. I've seen you on another podcast that you do, and you're always doing something.
Yes. Yeah.
When you have your own business and you're a brewer, what are your off days?
I don't have one. I try to take Monday and shut my phone off. It'll either be off or upstairs in my room, and I go downstairs on my couch and make my coffee. And I unplug for at least 3 or 4 hours. I try to just ignore all business and just kind of have Monday morning to myself. I drop my kids off at school. I come home. I sit down and drink my coffee and watch some stupid show on Netflix and relax for a little bit.
I started watching, it's on Hulu, but it's like a History Channel show. It's called Alone, where these people go out and they put them on an island in Vancouver. For 10 days, not for 10 days, for as long as they can stay, 10 people, and they have to stay there until somebody like says, I don't want to be here anymore. And to the last person, they get $500,000.
Wow.
And you watch people, like grown men, just break down crying.
I'm sure they do.
Like, so I'm like, my thing is like, okay, one is no human contact, and two, damn, not a single beer for like 60 days, 80 days, that would suck.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I had a couple friends of mine do that whole no beer for January thing.
Fuck
I'm
that.
like, how the hell do you do that, man? I'm like, you work in a brewery. I'm like, still, like, even if I didn't, I don't think I could go a whole month without a beer. I just couldn't do it. Why would I do it?
Right. What's the benefit?
Yeah.
I mean, well, speaking of that, I've noticed that a lot of brewers that, breweries, you guys stay in pretty decent shape.
Yeah. Well,
so I mean, considering that you consume, I would say, God knows how many calories, because you have to constantly taste your stuff. Is that right?
Yeah. Through each process, I'm tasting it. Yeah.
How do you guys stay fit? Would you say?
I mean, I don't really go to the gym too much anymore. I have a gym membership, but a lot of mine is my brewing style, and the way I brew my beers is very old school, very hands-on, manual labor. So all of the bags, which are right behind you there, those 4 bags, are 50-pound bags. Okay. So I'm picking up 1 or 2 at a time, putting that into my mill, crushing the grain, grabbing the bucket, dragging that over. It's 300 pounds worth of grain at this point. I shovel it into my mash tun. I shovel it out of the mash tun, bring it outside. My farmer comes and picks it up, feeds it to his animals.
Oh, nice. So nothing wasted.
No, I don't waste any of it. I mean, some might go down to the drain, but 99% of it goes out to a local farm, and he feeds his cows with it. Most of what I do, my brewing style is very hands-on, very physical labor. There are some breweries where they come in, they push a button, and all the bells and whistles go off, and beer is made. And there's nothing wrong with that. I would love to have something a little more automated, but right now that's my workout. I everything is physical. So
that's a great gym plan right there.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I gotta shovel 300 pounds of grain out of this damn silo. So I mean, that sounds like
I got my shoulders are always in shape. But most of the time when I'm brewing, I'm drinking a beer too. So
right. That's cool.
Calories in, calories out.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
It's not like, I'm just pushing this thing up and down just to push it.
Yeah.
You're doing it for a purpose.
Doing it for a reason, yeah.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And then in turn, you have this place that you have to keep up. So,
yes.
There's cardio, there's heavy weights.
Yeah.
Chasing porter. That's a lot of cardio right there.
During my brew days, when it's downtime, when I have a little bit of time, I'll run around and chase him with a ball, or we'll throw a ball around and have some fun.
Nice. You ever try laser?
He doesn't pay any mind to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he just looks at it and he's like, he walks away.
Yeah, he wants to hear it.
He wants something tangible that he can actually get his paws onto or his teeth onto.
Awesome. All right, brother. Well, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Cool.
Ah, shit.
All right, and we're back. I'm here again with Aaron Browne from Cousins Ale Works. We're holding one of the beers he just pulled right off the tap. It is nice and lovely, golden. It's got some legs on it. Look at that.
Yeah, it's got some stuff going on.
So what is this beer that we're about to drink?
This is a Belgian blonde ale. So I did it for a local restaurant, and it became a mainstay here at the brewery and tasting room. I fell in love with it. People seem to really love it. I decided to take 50 gallons of it and age it in a Taconic Distillery bourbon barrel for 6 months. So it's got a nice oaky bourbon note through it, but then you still get that.
That's what I smell. Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out.
It's on the nose. You get a little bit of like woody oak flavor or scent. But then the flavor still has that Belgian note with that bird, like all the bourbon coming right through it.
Oh wow, yeah. It does almost taste like a bourbon.
Yeah.
Like very. I mean, it's like a light, crisp, summery bourbon.
Yeah, no, it's just a nice, easy drinking Belgian. It's only 6.8%. I didn't leave it in there to get the alcohol content. I wanted it just to get some of that oak flavor. So
you can actually get alcohol content from a barrel?
You get a little bit, not a lot.
I didn't know that.
You get maybe 1%.
That's a lot.
It might be 0.5%, depending on some of the beers. Some bigger beers, like I've got 2 of those 4 barrels are full. And I've got my Krampus. It was a special release oatmeal cranberry stout.
I saw that on Instagram.
Yeah.
That looked pretty cool.
That was a fun time. And that beer we've got in a rye bourbon barrel right now. And that's a little higher alcohol, so that one will stay a little bit longer. And it might go from 8% to maybe 8.5%, 9%, somewhere in that area.
Do you ever have a beer that you have sit and just let it sit for like years? Mm-hmm. What's your oldest beer that you like? I'm going to make this and I'm going to open this up It's
all gone now. Because we opened it up on my 1-year anniversary here at the brewery. It was the Ugly Mug Coffee Stout, which I've got on tap as well. But it was the bourbon barrel aged version of the Ugly Mug, and I had it. It was at the time a 10% beer, and I aged it in a 25-gallon bourbon barrel, Hill Rock bourbon, for a year.
I know that place.
Yes, Hill Rock's great.
That's some good shit right there.
Good bourbon there.
Yeah.
Year and a half in that barrel, and when we pulled it out. It was one of those things that I just did not want to carbonate it. I wanted to serve it old school style. I wanted to pull it right out of the barrel. So I drilled a hole in the side of the barrel, and I just poured pints directly from the barrel. And to me, that's the way it should be when coming from a barrel.
Right.
You get all the natural flavors that are in that oak and in the barrel. I feel like you lose some of it when you carbonate it. Maybe you don't, but it's just my personal belief that it loses something. But that beer was so good. And we went through 25 gallons in a little under a month.
Wow.
Of just one, and it was 14% at the end of that.
God damn.
It was a good beer.
That's a wine, dude.
It was a solid beer.
That's a beer and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I guess it goes to my next question is, what made you go with the name Cousins Ale Works instead of like Cousins Brewery or?
Well, it was my cousin and I that started the brewery.
Okay.
He's now stepped out. He's doing his own thing, and I'm still here pushing along. The idea behind Cousins Ale Works was there's tons of places called breweries. There's not a lot of places called ale works. And I feel like while I am a brewery, I'm constantly working on my craft. I'm constantly working on things. So I wanted it to be in the title of the name. So that's where the ale works side of it came, because we make ales. I do have a couple lagers I make, but 90% of what I brew is ales. And the work side of it, it says it's just always a work in progress. There's always something new coming out, always something different going on. I try to make, I have 10 taps, and I usually keep 2 or 3 that are regular beers. The rest are all different variants of beers.
So you're constantly looking towards the future.
Yeah.
When you're here, you're mad scientist. What makes you? I guess how do you come up with a beer? Like when you start doing, let's say today's, what's today? Friday. Today's Friday, right? And you say, Monday I'm going to work on the beer. What does it look like? Start from nothing, or do you have a basis?
Basically starts with a pad of paper and a pen, and I just kind of, like for instance, Cobblestone. When I wanted to brew the Belgian Blonde, I never made a Belgian Blonde before, so I was sitting down with pad and paper, bought a few different Belgian Blonde beers from a local store, and I just tried them all out and took notes on what I liked and disliked about them. Then I started formulating my recipe on the ingredients that I could source here in New York. For raw, like malt and hops. So then I just started formulating the recipe based off of that, and I kind of just go in that direction where I write everything down. Then I go and I have a computer program that I enter my ingredients into. That gives me a baseline of saying, okay, yeah, you're on the ballpark for making a Belgian Blonde. But I always like to put a little something extra into it. I don't want to just be run-of-the-mill Belgian Blonde that's just kind of like everybody else does. So what I'll do is Belgian Blonde mostly is Pilsner malt. So I use a lot of Pilsner malt, and I put a touch of two-row in there, which brings a little bit of American flavor into the beer.
Okay.
Not a lot, just a little bit, and that's what gives you that more of a golden color, or blonde golden color. That's just kind of how I do it. And then I used to have a test system where I would be able to brew like 5, 10, 15 gallons. I don't have that anymore. I sold it to a smaller brewery, and I have now I have just a 155-gallon system where I got to kind of hope my numbers are on point, or at least close to. Otherwise, it's 155 gallons of beer that I dump.
So, I mean, not only are you a scientist, but now you have to be a mathematician all at the same time.
Yeah, because, I look at my brewing style is there's breweries that are very, very science-oriented, where everything is number. To me, I like to let the beer do what it's going to do. I like to let the beer speak to me and tell me. It might sound weird or cliche, but as I taste it throughout the process, I want my numbers to be on point, but I'm more worried about the flavor. I'm more worried about the presentation of the beer than I am making sure that, all right, I'm shooting for a 7% beer. If it comes out at 6%, I'm not upset. I'll still serve it. I'll just serve it as a 6% beer instead of a 7% beer.
Right.
So the science side of it, I kind of stay away from a little bit, just because I look at it more as a quote-unquote revolution in the style of brewing.
Okay.
I'm bringing more of a hands-on scent and feel and taste to the brewing process.
It's like a freestyle jazz musician.
Yeah.
Playing its own special, like a tune. It's not,
Yeah, I'm not in tune with all the crazy stuff. I don't have the funding for like a big lab. I don't have all that stuff. I just kind of go with what I taste. Okay, this tastes what I like, but now I'm going to change this and add something else to it, and then I'll make it that way.
Do you stick with the same yeast for most of the stuff, or do you like...
I change the yeast out. A lot of my variants are like US-05, and I have my house one that I just kind of harvest myself. But most of it's that. This yeast itself is a Belgian yeast that I used for it. So I did buy this yeast separate from my normal yeast. But I try to come up with recipes that are easy to drink, light-bodied. A lot of my beers you'll taste are pretty light in body. some could be medium or heavy. I do have my